So basically, the defense is saying because Cassie Ventura never told Kid Cudi that she was still back in a relationship with Diddy, that he got played.
Hi. I don't care. I don't care who Cassie played. I don't care who she was in a relationship with. There's absolutely nothing that she could have done aside from violence that would justify what was done to her, allegedly. I think this is a great example of the way defense attorneys are able to rely on society's willingness to blame survivors of abuse and violence in the court of law to win court cases. The victim blaming that we experience in our society can be very obvious, but it can also be very insidious. And I think this is a somewhat good example of that sort of more insidious form of victim blaming where we're looking at, like, well, maybe she was cheating or maybe she was playing two men at the same time. But none of that matters, right? Because none of that justifies being physically and sexually assaulted. People are so willing to jump on like what this person did to make them deserve to be abused. I think it comes from this place where we are trying to separate ourselves from someone who has been subjected to abuse and violence because we would like to think it would never happen to us. So we have to think, well, what behaviors did she engage in that led to this treatment? Because then I know that if I don't engage in those behaviors, then I will never be abused and then I am safe in my little world. But here's the reality: none of us are safe from abusers, except for maybe abusers. Maybe. I don't know. But the bottom line is we live in a world amongst predators and people who are abusive, and we cannot just spot them in a lineup. It's impossible. Maybe some of them you can see at first glance, but abusers are insidious. They are secretive. They hide their behavior. They are usually charming. They fool everyone. And then behind closed doors, they become abusive. I just think we really need to understand that this inclination to blame the survivor, I think at its heart comes from a place of self preservation. We need to believe that we live in a safe world because otherwise, maybe we start to feel kind of paranoid and scared all the time. And I'm not saying that we should all be paranoid and scared and living in fear all the time. When we let that fear and that need to feel safe get in the way of believing people who are telling us that they have been and are being abused, we have become part of the problem. I'm not trying to call out this journalist. I do believe she's just quoting or summarizing what the defense's position was. But I am just trying to point out that people are so willing in this whole conversation to figure out what Cassie did wrong. And she's not the one on trial. This is not about her. This is about what someone else did or did not do to her. Unless we are accusing her of initiating violence, nothing else is relevant.